I'm Cesar Delgado from Back Roads of Illinois podcast. Welcome to the show with us for today. I am joining with Jonathan Coopes from the University of Illinois at College of Agricultural and Consumer Environment Sciences for Agricultural Policies in Champaign. Jonathan is Ag Policies Analysis for the University of Illinois in Champaign. Good afternoon. How are you today in Champaign? And welcome to the show with us for this afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, and I'm doing well, and we're just towards the end of the semester here on campus, and so it's good to have a chance to talk with you, and I appreciate being on the show.
Let's start with the expiration of the Farm Bill for this year. Why lawmakers wouldn't have to pass along the Farm Bill for this year? Could you tell to the audience about this?
Yes, so Congress typically authorizes farm bills for 5 years, and so the previous farm bill was enacted into law in 2018, so it was technically scheduled to expire, or parts of it were scheduled to expire this year. As your listeners may have noticed, Congress did not get much done this year, including they were not able to reauthorize the farm bill. But they did extend it. So any of the programs that were expiring in 2023 have been extended to 2024. So they have another year to work on it.
Senator Grassley is welcome to work with Senator Debbie Stabenow. They don't agree with some programs like SNAP and conversation program like NCRS. What do you recommend for the farmers with this program?
Well, I'm always cautious about recommending anything, but you are correct. Chairwoman Debbie Stabenow is a senator from Michigan and is chair of the committee, and Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa are two of the major senators that work on a farm bill. They have some disagreements. You mentioned the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which provides low-income individuals and families with help to buy food. And that has been one of the major areas of controversy and disagreement, particularly around whether changes should be made to the program to reduce the costs to the federal government. It's over $100 billion a year, but it also serves over 40 million Americans every month. And so it's a big program that provides a lot of benefits to a lot of people, but it also can be costly. The other issue you mentioned are the conservation programs. That's where we provide farmers with direct assistance to adopt conservation practices. So here in Illinois, we might think of things like cover crops or grass waterways that the federal programs will help farmers cover the cost of those practices. And it is one of the areas where there's been some disagreement about how much funding for those programs and whether some of those funds should be redirected to other priorities. And that's also a major sticking point in the negotiations. Separate program that's not reauthorizing the Farm Bill, but there are some connections where individuals or families who may qualify for federal assistance in one program could also qualify for SNAP, which is an area that some have talked about trying to make changes on.
Okay, I understand. The both parties are bogged down between the SNAP program and other issues as well. What are you looking for this farm bill for next year?
Well, as you know, next year is an election year, so it's going to be really difficult, I think, to get agreement on particularly controversial issues. And I mentioned that Congress has some really big ticket items, and most prominent of those is this what we've continued the temporary continuation of funding for the federal government, and so we're going to see some real challenges early in the new year in January and February around just the basics of the government's operation, by making sure there's funding for the agencies and for operation of government. So that's going to be a big issue early. And then as we get later into the year, we will see more and more challenges because of it being an election year and all the campaign work. So my hope is that they can make some real progress early in the year, and maybe have things where they can work out differences in what we call the lame duck after elections.
Finally, what is your advice to the farmers on this farm bill for in 2024 as in the election year?
Well, for farmers, the good news, if there is good news, is that everything that they're used to under the Farm Bill continues. Right. The Farm Bill continues through 2024. So sign up for programs and crop insurance, all of that will continue next year. And then it's really going to be a difficult process to get a bill done, but the optimists in the crowd can see, that there's some interest at the committee level and amongst some of the leadership to really try to get one completed in time. And so that's kind of what we're holding out, some hope for.
Is there anything would you like to go to tell our listeners about the extension of the Farm Bill for this month?
I don't think I have anything more to add other than, again, for farmers, they're used to it. The programs like they were the last 5 years will continue. So when they'll do signups in March, and so that'll help them in terms of planning, but it does raise concerns longer term about what's available.
My pleasure that you joined the show for today. Thanks. You're welcome to the show with us for any time.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm happy to chat again as we know more, or maybe as we see more things happening in Congress. Let me know. I'm happy to try to answer questions as we all try to figure out what's going to happen. But thank you for having me on the show.
At College of Agricultural and Consumer Environment Sciences in Champaign. From back roads of Illinois, I am Cesar Delgado. Have a good day.